Give me a banana.
What?
Give me a banana.
I
Give me a banana.
don't know what this bit is. We didn't talk about this.
Give me a banana.
Oh my god. Well, I guess welcome to episode 19 of the Too Bad We Didn't Get Into Cars podcast. Do I have to put a pop filter on this microphone? Because that would be stupid. I think, yep, because I'm catching... Whatever, man. Don't look at me like that. Just don't look at me.
Dude, I had to shave my beard. I hate it.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even notice.
Sucks.
I feel like...
Sucks monkey fuck.
I feel like a shitty friend. I feel like when someone cuts their hair, you know, the least that you can do is say, hey, did you get a haircut? And then the friend is like, well, yes, I did. And then, you know, they feel good the rest of the day, and they're like, my barber didn't fuck this shit up, you know?
Yeah.
But,
No, I had to shave it for my costume later on.
Yep.
Because it's Halloween today.
It's okay, well, yeah, it's, it's, you know.
Yeah, well, as of recording, it's Halloween. Sorry. Yeah, we don't do this live, so naturally these episodes come out later than we record them, you know? So, happy Halloween once again, but for real this time.
The magic is gone. The magic is gone. I was in costume last episode.
Welcome to November.
Oh
it sucks ass. Nothing
No,
special.
you can't do that. You can't be like, "Oh, we're recording this on Halloween," and then Happy November. You imbecile.
Happy November
Oh my
to
God.
all of you in the future.
Yeah, happy.
Remember the 5th of November or
Nope, it's
whatever.
gonna be the 3rd.
The 3rd.
It's gonna be the.
Well,
wait, no, it's
watch
the
out,
2nd.
because
oh my
the
God.
5th of November is coming up, and we're gonna talk about V for Vendetta next episode.
Yeah, we can V for Vendetta and Gen 6, and then whatever music we want to do. But we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Damaged Metal. We're talking about Damaged Metal. 10th anniversary. Let's go! Woo!
No fucking way. Absolutely.
10th anniversary in 1 week.
The 1 week.
believe this shit.
In 1 week, it's going to be how many years?
10 years.
10 years. That's a lot of years to have been not in a band for. Or it's a lot of years in general. Just 10 years, man. I mean, you think about it, for most people, that's like a seventh of your life is 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, assuming that the national average in the future, whenever you're watching this, is still 70 years old. I mean, for us, I feel like 70 is a pretty good average, right? 70 something?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's how far Ronald made it, I think.
McDonald?
No, like Ronald, who lived here.
Excuse me?
Ronald.
Who the fuck? Who is Ronald?
It was the guy who lived here in my condo. He died, and then his family sold it off, and now I'm living here.
How come I didn't know this before? You're living in a condo that potentially has a ghost living in it?
Yeah, it's Ronald. You didn't see the skeleton on our chair? It's Ronald. I even called him that
You
last time you
didn't
were here.
tell me that's why you called him Ronald. You didn't tell me there was a dead man in your condo up until like a couple of months ago.
Yeah, he died in January. So, can we get some F's in the chat for Ronald?
I don't think I can come over anymore.
It's not haunted. I swear.
Okay, well, maybe not for you, because you're chummy with Ronald or whatever. But for me, I'm a stranger, bro. I'm a stranger. Something tells me Ronald wasn't the friendliest of guys. Did you ever get to meet him?
No. He died like a half year before I moved in.
Okay, so how did you know about Ronald?
We still get his mail every day, and you know, like when we signed the lease, it was like the estate of Ronald, whatever his fucking last name is.
Who told you that he died?
It was in like the paperwork. Because like it was on behalf of his son or whatever. It was like the estate of Ronald, whatever.
This is
died. We even looked up his obituary.
And you found it?
Yeah.
Do you remember his last name?
Or E.
I mean, probably not on air. You know, maybe just.
Yeah. I mean, it's on the fucking all the mail all the time. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm not saying that I want to find this dead man's obituary and see what he looks like. But I'm saying, you know. No, you know what? I shouldn't, because then he'll have even more reason to haunt me whenever I come over, because he's like, you know what I fucking look like. You know what I look like. / looked like. I don't know. When you die, do you think you stay the same age that you die at?
I don't know. I feel like. I mean. Yeah, actually, I think you do.
I feel like any ghost story, the ghost in question has been the age that they were when they died.
Yeah. Besides Star Wars, like.
Yeah, but know. even then when they re-released episode 6, Anakin's Force ghost is Hayden Christensen. So
could you imagine living to like 102, and then you have to remain for all eternity as a 102-year-old ghost?
No fucking way. Absolutely not. You know what? No, I'm gonna change the rules. When I die, I'm gonna demand to speak to whoever the afterlife's manager is, and I'm gonna be like, hey, this is my cane. This is the indication for a cane, or like a stick shift thing, like when you're in a car and you that thing.
You mean the thing that we didn't even fucking intro? Wow, what the fuck? We forgot to mention the car and the names and all that shit. What the hell?
Oh, God. And I forgot Vanessa, too. Vanessa!
You're already being haunted by Ronald.
Yeah, he's making me do my job poorly.
He's going through my webcam and, like, in my computer. And
I didn't need a ghost haunting me to do that.
And then it's coming out of Zoom.
So we got here in person this time. We have a 2009 Toyota Prius, but it is a taxi model. So it is it's a Prius. It's a Prius. So we're gonna throw it up on screen, with these virtual podcasts now. I was thinking about this recently. There are so many podcasters that have like studios dedicated to like doing podcasts, which is cool. Like if you're able to make money through content creation and through making podcasts, then I guess you could hypothetically funnel that into a studio. And who's to say that I won't actually make Studio Spectrum a thing? By the way, this closet that I'm filming in and recording in, this is called Studio Spectrum because a huge part of my identity as a musician is the color spectrum. My first album in college had like a rainbow on it, a natural rainbow. And so I had this idea a little while ago that all of my albums would be like color coded, which I think is kind of a cool idea. You match the merch to the color of the album that you're promoting, and like.
Hey, Baroness called, and they're suing you.
Has Baroness already done that?
They're currently doing that.
Oh fuck.
Since 2007. It was Red Album, Blue Record, Yellow Green, Purple, and Golden Gray. So.
Hello? Oh my god, is this Baroness? Oh, it's Weezer. Oh man, you had me worried for a second. I thought this is You did the color thing for your album. I get it. Sure. Yeah. Okay. All right. Sweet. Well, I'll talk to you later. Your lawyer. Okay. So you're not gonna. It's not gonna be you on the phone. Okay. Sure. Okay. So Weezer hung up on me. Where are you going? Is this gonna add to the bit? I swear, if this doesn't add to the bit.
We have red.
Oh my god.
We have red.
Uh-huh.
We have blue. Blue.
Okay, but like...
Yellow and green.
Yeah, alright, but here's the thing. All of their album covers
Purple.
look very similar, whereas mine are not going to look similar.
And gold and gray.
And Weezer does the same thing where their album covers are very similar too, where it's just the
Boob.
4 of them.
Here's a boob. Here's a boob.
We can't show that on YouTube. Yeah.
Sure we can. No problem.
Okay, well, as long as it's educational, that individual in that album artwork was about to breastfeed. So, right, it's okay to show boobs on TV as long as...
It's art. It's art. It's fine.
It's art and it's helping out a child in need. So, I think we're in the clear. I swear to God, if we actually get a copyright... Or not a copyright strike, but if we get a strike on that video... I'm gonna be so upset. At least we can't get striked on stricken. At least we can't get stricken on Spotify and Apple because you can't see a boob in audio, right?
Very much true.
You just hear that there's a boob.
I'm David
sounds of a
Kapushikars, by the way.
Huh?
I'm David Kapushikars, by the way.
Oh,
in case you're wondering.
And I'm Nick Scarpin Auto. Yeah, I think we're letting the format of the virtual. I like this. I like this format. I think we're gonna try it out a little bit more. You let us know if you. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter if you're listening, but if you're watching, I mean, it still matters if you're listening. All opinions matter, except for Weezer and Baroness's opinions. Excuse you. Was that an objection to my point?
Even fucking shit. Beatles had a color album. Primus.
Yeah, so fucking everyone does it. Everyone does it. So what I was getting around to, my closet right now is organized according to the color spectrum. So on one side we have reds going all the way down the purples, and then on the other side we have whites going to like darker colors and like my black jacket down here and stuff. And so I thought about calling this studio, quote unquote, Studio Spectrum. So if I somehow get the money someday and I could do the Foo Fighters thing where I just build a recording studio to record, you know, my albums or whatever, then we could do the podcast there. If and when we, you know, get to do in-person stuff again. But, you know, this is pretty cool for the time being. Hey man, you get to show off here.
It's easier.
It's way easier. Yeah, we're both busy boys. Pretty much is the thing. So, while we're here and while we're on the podcast, let's talk about what we're actually here to talk about. We got Billy and Mandy, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. What?
Give me a banana.
Oh. I thought you were gonna be like, no, man, talk about something else first. Well, we are. David will get a banana eventually. I hope. Do you have banana at home?
Fuck.
No fucking. He actually has bananas. He's running, folks. All right. Well, we're talking about the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. We're talking about the Arctic Monkeys. Banana. Monkeys, Arctic monkeys, banana.
Give me a banana.
All right. Too bad bananas can't make sounds, because we could be totally lying to the podcast listeners about having a banana.
Yeah. Trust me, I have a banana.
Trust David. We're talking about the Arctic Monkeys, who just released a new album called The Car. Recently, and we're continuing our Pokemon journey, going throughout every region of Pokemon games, spin-offs included, until we reach Generation 9 / Scarlet and Violet, the new games that are coming out this year in November. And this week we are talking about Generation 5, aka the black and white generation, aka the generation of Pokemon where we fell off. So that'll be a very interesting conversation today. But first, let's talk one of the most formative TV shows of our young lives.
Can we start with fucking Fred Burger?
We're gonna start with Fred Burger?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Fred Burger is a character from the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, and for those of you who don't know the show, it's pretty straightforward. The Grim Reaper comes to kill a young boy's hamster, and the boy and his friend Mandy, the boy Billy and Mandy, they make a deal with the Grim Reaper to play a game, and if they win the game, the hamster survives, and the Grim Reaper has to do their bidding, and if they lose, what was it? I think he got to kill Billy and Mandy. I honestly can't remember that first episode because the other episodes after that are so much more iconic to me, but
they looked really ugly in that first.
They looked really different.
Super ugly.
That first season was rough. It kind of reminds me of the first season of SpongeBob, where like the animation style was very different, and the voices were all different, and like they hadn't found a groove yet. But throughout the show, you know, the Grim Reaper, aka Grim, being one of the main characters, you end up meeting a lot of supernatural folks and
Dracula.
Dracula. Dracula's a character. He's a very old, decrepit character. he's like this like 70s inspired vampire who likes to dance, and he doesn't, because he's old, he doesn't suck blood anymore. He like scrapes and licks the blood from things. You get to meet Jack-o'-lantern from I don't know if Jack-o'-lantern is actually like a mythic, like a fictional character, but you know, at least the pumpkin heads are. And you also get to meet an underworld creature named Fred Burger, who appears in the episode Keeper of the Reaper, where Billy and Mandy sue each other in an attempt to claim ownership of Grimm, you know, and have him belong to one of the two kids. And I remember it being like a big deal. It was like a special, right?
No, it was just an episode, but like, let me tell you, man, like as soon as Fred Burger pops up, I mean, we were just quoting him all the time.
Yeah, it was a super important part of our friendship, I think, because...
And I can't do the voice anymore.
Anymore? Come on, man. You can try to do the Fred Burger voice.
No, yes.
There you go.
I can't do it anymore.
You just
doesn't
did
sound
it.
good. No, it doesn't.
Dude.
I used to do it like pretty decently back in the day, but...
Which is weird.
Like frozen yogurt.
Yeah, give it up for Fred Burger, everybody. That's pretty good.
But no, then he shows up later in the another episode where they go get frozen yogurt.
Yeah.
And the ending, I swear to God, one of the hardest I ever laughed at a show.
Oh yeah, I don't know if I actually did, but I'm 90% sure I pissed my pants at some point watching one of those episodes, just laughing so hard because it's so ridiculous. It's one of the writers and the voice of Fred Burger. His name is C.H. Greenblatt. He also wrote for SpongeBob and a lot of cartoons that we watched growing up. So that sort of absurdist humor permeates a lot of Billy and Mandy. It's just very absurd and silly. And yes, like SpongeBob, there are a lot of moments that I look back on in retrospect and I'm like, oh, they're just being loud and annoying for the sake of being loud and annoying. Like, do you remember Destroy Us All? Yeah. I was like, I used to quote that all the time, and now I see kids on TikTok who quote similar things from similar like shows, but mostly it's just like other popular TikToks where it's just screaming really loud and like being random. Like being random was it was like an identity for us. Like at that time, it was just like, I don't know how to be funny. Let me just let me just be random, you know. Also, bacon and mustaches were the shit. It was like, do you remember how many pieces of merchandise we would see at, like, how often people talked about bacon and they're like, bacon's my favorite food. You know.
I think it's still going on. Just, I don't get it, man. Bacon's overrated.
It's okay. We can't get too off topic.
People are like, I die for fucking bacon.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, calm down.
Yeah, everyone liked mustaches too. Everyone drew little mustaches on their finger, and then just hold it up. Or they would wear fake mustaches. I think that's still a thing, you know, like at prom and parties and stuff. I don't know. I haven't been to prom in like 10
about
years.
20,000 years.
Yeah, so I think you're rounding up a little bit, but yeah. So Billy and Mandy was a very formative time for us, humor wise.
Remember Haas Delgado?
Yeah, Haas Delgado. He's voiced by D. Bradley Baker. No, it's not D. Bradley Baker. God damn it.
I have no idea.
I forget his name. But he was the guy in Napoleon Dynamite that had the he was Rex's dojo.
Yeah.
And Haas Delgado is like this monster hunter, and he has a chainsaw for a leg, and also a chainsaw for an arm, or is it a hook for an arm?
It's like it's like multi-gadgeted, like an arm.
He can like interchange whatever is on his arm, but he's got an eye patch, and he's very like, my name is Haas Delgado. I'm gonna, holy mackerel. You know, it's very silly. And I was just thinking about this the other day. Do you remember that Smash clone that I had on PS2? Yeah. All of those characters in that. I played the shit out of that game because I just wanted to keep unlocking characters and costumes. And you had Norville or Neville. Neville,
yeah.
Yeah. Neville is what's the guy? What's his dad's name?
Nurgle. Yeah.
He's just... Grimm has so many enemies. He just has so many people that he just doesn't vibe with.
I think he was supposed to be like the devil himself.
Oh.
Like that's who he was.
Yeah, and then Neville is his son, who has a crush on Mandy, I think. Erwin, speaking of crushes on Mandy, who is, spoiler alert, Dracula's grandson.
Dude,
you
got me, yo. It's the duck.
You got.
Oh fuck, the goddamn rabbit. Remember the fucking pudding?
Oh yeah,
like the wishing skull.
Yeah, there was a whole episode where there's a skull, or it was the monkey's paw. I can't remember what it was.
It was like a wishing skull.
Yeah,
it was like the monkey's paw thing.
Yeah,
concept.
It was an episode where this wishing skull kept going into the hands of like different people. I think it had like 10 wishes in it, and it kept counting down. And it explored, it highlighted a lot of the side characters in the show. And Puddin, who it's not Mandy's brother, was it?
No, just some kid.
Just some kid. He is just a very shy kid. He wished to have a friend. I think it was like the most wholesome wish. And the it's very much like a genie. The wishing skull would twist the context of a wish. And so he gives Puddin, like the skull gives Puddin this rabbit, this bunny. And then the rabbit starts to try to kill him. And it ends with that sequence of the episode ends with Puddin being chased by the rabbit, and it's like this whole action set piece where they're like standing on top of cars on the expressway, and they're like shooting like donuts at each other like custard. It's a messed up sequence, man.
Yeah.
A lot of people die, probably. Also, Puddin says, suck custard.
You ever hear of tough love? What's that?
Yeah, it was a messed up show. It used a lot of like dark imagery and it was absurd. It was wacky as hell. But it was super fun, and I chalk it up as like a Cartoon Network classic. I think because partially I grew up with it, but also like I don't know, man. I used to see Grimm everywhere. Like those characters used to be in so many different pieces of marketing for Cartoon Network. I don't know if people now recognize Billy and Mandy as much as other Cartoon Network shows or characters or whatever, but for us, they're always going to be classic, and they're always going to be right here, right here, in our hearts. Atomically correct hearts, by the way. So it's got all the vowels and shit. Thank you for not coughing into the microphone.
No, thank me.
That's what I just did.
I was not gonna fucking deal with that shit later on.
Oh, so you thank you.
Yeah.
David's the one that edits all of the podcasts together. Thanks, David.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
Good ass show. Fucking one of the best. If anyone
Honestly.
disagrees, they're a moron.
Wait, what?
If anyone disagrees, they're a moron.
Yeah. Probably. I mean, it's a really good show.
Co to jest? Ty co, tumano czy co?
Do you want to run that by us again, Chief?
No.
Okay.
Nie kurwa.
Well, I guess we better move on to another, at least for me, another formative expression of art in one way or another during my years as a preteen. I don't know when I found this album or when I found this band. I think it was in high school. Anyway, we're talking about the Arctic Monkeys, partially because David here had to. Well, okay, banana. Partially because David had
Grim or monkey heads? Grim or monkey heads?
We're done. We're not talking about Billy and Mandy anymore.
Hey, it's a segue. It's a segue.
No, it's monkey heads. This is a segue. Insert picture of a segue, please.
Oh, Jesus Christ. You can do work.
Hell yeah. So the Arctic Monkeys, they're a super British band that I've been listening to for a while, and David had just listened to recently as part of his duties for a video on your channel. Your album's ranked number 2.
Yes.
Where tell us a little bit about that video.
I had a bunch of people give me a bunch of albums, and I listened to them and rank them, because I do that. The first time I did it, it was just because I didn't have anything to do.
Right.
But this time, it was like to celebrate 600 subs. So I got 30 albums. I didn't do 2 of them. Have you seen the video?
I have. I wanted to really quickly say I'm so happy that Pink Moon, the album that I suggested, made it past the halfway point, but I which was super surprising. I did not think it was going to get that high, but then immediately after that, I was like, all right, I'm rooting for Arctic Monkeys. And I was very happy with where they got placed. Again, a super huge surprise for me. I was like, God damn.
That came in at number 3.
I did not expect it to make it that high. I was so stoked. I was like, even if Pink Moon doesn't, because I knew for a fact that wasn't going to do like amazing, but we had listened to, so the album was Whatever People Say I Am, That's What I'm Not, I think is the name of the album.
Yeah.
We listened to that on our way to Detroit to see Origami Angel, and it was my first time listening to it in full. I had previously listened to Your Favorite Worst Nightmare by them, which is the album that came after that album, and it's one of my favorites of all time. Favorite Worst Nightmare, great album. Listen to it. But But yeah, we listened to their debut, and that was your second exposure to the band. But really, it felt like, I'm sure for you it was like listening to them for the first time.
Yeah.
Pretty much, because the time that I showed you Favorite Worst Nightmare was maybe like a year or two ago. It was on another like big trip, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Tell me about your. I want to hear your thoughts on the new album too, because we listened to their new album, The Car, also on that trip to Detroit. So, what do you think about the differences between like their latest album and their first album?
They went from one of the most fun records I've heard in a while to one of the most dull. My God. I don't know, man. The Car was just not fun.
Yeah.
That also might be because we listened to it immediately after the first one.
Yeah.
So I was already like hyped up like on cocaine and shit. and then it was just a nap.
Yeah.
Right afterwards. I was like But funny enough, I think it dropped that day.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh shit, this just came out. Let's listen to it.
Yeah, well, because I had refrained from listening. I had been meaning to get around to listening to the single from that album was Body Paint, which I think was like the fourth song overall. But at least what I will say about the Arctic Monkeys is something that I was telling one of my coworkers recently. They, like a couple other bands that we listened to, like collectively, they have a sound that you can recognize immediately because they write a lot of their songs in that same style. So even if the instrumentation changes a little bit, you can still tell it's like the Arctic Monkeys. But what that means is a whole album is going to feel very homogenous, right? Like the same way that like an album by AC/DC is probably going to have like one or two standout tracks, and it's only going to be because like the chorus is memorable or like there's a guitar riff that's super memorable. But other than that, it's going to be like, oh yeah, this is a wall of sound, a wall of Australian sound, So the Arctic Monkeys kind of feel that way as in like the first album, even though it's really frenetic and there's a lot of energy to it, a lot of it kind of blends together, especially like if you listen to it all the way through. Like if you were to like pick a song out in a playlist and listen to it separately, I think it would have a little bit like stronger of an effect. Whereas like after you listen to that first album, I'm like, all right, I'm exhausted. I need a palate cleanser. I need something that's not the Arctic Monkeys for a little bit. I don't know. That's how I felt. But how did you feel?
I wanted more like the first one.
Yeah.
I thought it was just so fun. Like everyone was just going ham.
Yeah.
And like I said in my video, like I would totally like if you play that shit live, any of the songs, I would be 100% like fuck yeah, let's do it.
Which is crazy to me, cause I can't remember the last time that I have like listened to an album with you that was like because like the last couple albums that we listened to together, either as part of your video responsibilities or just because like I have an album or you have an album that you want to like show off. I don't know. I haven't really felt that personally. So like to hear that from someone else, it's fun. It's cool. It's like that the fact that a piece of music can make you feel that way. I think that's kind of incredible, and the reason that we do it, frankly. But yeah, do you have any standout tracks from either of them? Like, do you remember anything from The Car?
No, I just remember just being like.
I really like the song "Hey You." I think it's called "Hey You." It's one of the more up tempo songs on that. Also, it's shorter, because the Arctic Monkeys went from recording songs that were like 2.5 minutes long to recording songs that are like 4.5 minutes long, and I think it's just because they slow the tempo down a lot. So, "Hey You" is a song that kind of goes by really quickly, and it had a really interesting chorus and like melodic ideas and stuff. But what about the first album? Do you have any?
I don't remember the songs.
Yeah, the
But
titles are kind of.
I'll say one thing: like none of them bored me,
Well, that's good.
which is why it was number 3. Like
Yeah.
I don't remember any of the tracks, but like I liked all of them.
Yeah. I think I've listened to View from the Afternoon and I Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor separately because I know those are like their popular tracks from that record. I honestly don't know how many more songs they play live from that album. I don't even know what their set list looks like because they have a couple albums in between those two, and we actually listened to a song from AM, which was the song or the album that I would say arguably like thrust them into the mainstream, like worldwide mainstream, particularly in the United States, because they had songs like Why'd You Only Call Me When You're High? They had songs like Do I Want to Know, which got overplayed on every rock radio station that you could imagine. You know that one. If I were to just start singing the guitar, the ba-na-na-na, ba-na-na-na-na-na, ba-na-na-na,
Maybe.
ba-na-na-da-da.
I'm not sure.
All right. Well.
Oh no, I know that one. Yeah, no, I know that one.
Yeah. It got a little annoying how often they that song was in rotation. But I think it's, in retrospect, having listened to those two bookend albums, the debut and the latest one, AM is the perfect combination of both of those sounds, where there are some songs that are a little faster, not quite like frenetic anymore, but like as far as the rock sensibilities and the big wall of sound thing, they have a couple of songs on that album, on AM, that really achieve that effect. We listened to Arabella, which I kind of think sounds like Black Sabbath a little bit, or at least in high school I thought I made that comparison. But yeah, I think we probably could have padded the car and whatever people say I am with AM in between, just to kind of smooth out that transition, so it wasn't a total surprise when the car started playing. But to be fair, I didn't really know what to expect going into the car either. And I didn't know I didn't know it was going to be a strings album. Like like every single song utilized like a string section, which on one hand is very cool. And I'm just going to chalk it up to that was like an experimental album for them, because they were like, well, we have a string section, might as well use it. But
God, one of these days, can we just talk about how much the radio sucks?
Yeah, I think I legit haven't listened to the radio consciously in probably years.
No, because like what you said earlier about the AC/DC thing, how there's like one or two standout songs. I think it's because the fucking radio.
Yeah.
They force people to like put all their effort into like this one or two songs, and then everything else is just whatever.
Yeah.
And like I said, they just fucking overplay the exact same shit over and over again.
Yeah, it's I think that's, not to get too sidetracked, but I think that's a byproduct of like human nature. I think because we're creatures of habit, and because there's just a lot of content out there, at least speaking personally, like I feel a little bit more comfortable when I'm listening to either an album that I already know, or I'm watching, like whenever I sit down to eat something, I cannot sit and eat and not watch something, and vice versa. Like those are two activities that are always linked in my brain. And recently, I just watched the same fucking YouTube videos that I have been watching for like months. It's just Drew Gooden videos, Good Mythical Morning, the Angry Video Game Nerd, and I've been meaning to finish Cyberpunk Edge Runners because I have one episode left, and I've been meaning to start Breaking Bad, because I owe it to you to watch Breaking Bad. But there's a part of me that's like, the very little time that I have to sit down and like watch something consciously, while not doing something else, I think I would just rather spend it watching something that I can multitask with, because if it's a new show, I have this like, it's a version of FOMO where I'm missing out on being productive partially. But again, whole other different topic, but I think the radio and playlists on Spotify and everything like that, it's just easier to pick like one or two songs from an artist that get like overplayed a lot, and then to the general public it's like, oh yeah, I love AC/DC. No, I think you really just like Back in Black or Thunderstruck because you heard it in like a Ford commercial and you were like, oh yeah, it's AC/DC.
Yeah, fuck the radio. You know what, Trevor? I'm glad video killed the fucking radio star.
Is that the name of the Buggles?
Fuck the radio star. Yeah.
Yeah.
There they are, right there.
I can't.
There they are.
I can't see him. Anyway, so the Arctic Monkeys. Eventually, I would like to listen to Favorite Worst Nightmare again and AM with you, because I haven't listened to AM in full, but it's got a couple of highlights in there, and then at that point, might as well listen to the other two, and then I can join you for another album ranking. But that's.
Do they only have 7 albums?
Yeah, it's only like 6 or 7.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not too bad. And like the first 3 really go by, because I'm pretty sure it's Whatever People Say I Am, Favorite Worst Nightmare, Humbug, and then they have AM. They have the first album that started the trend of like their slow. I guess it's not really a trend because it's just been the last 2 albums, but the Tranquil Something Hotel and Bar is like an album that came out either in 2020 or like right before that. But anyway, yeah, good band, solid albums. But there's definitely a missing piece in between that we kind of skipped. So the jerk from, going 100 miles an hour to going 20 miles an hour was very drastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should write a song called Whiplash.
Whiplash.
Moving on to our last and final and end topic. Those are all different words that mean different things. Don't quote me on that. Pokemon Generation 5. Now, what are you making that face for? What? Oh. I didn't know you had the... Puppy. So, personal story, personal background. It was 2010, I think, when Black and White came out. David, you and I were in 8th grade. Most likely it was our freshman year of high school, because that would have been 2010 of November, most likely, and we had graduated in 2010 of May, so a couple months prior. We did not play these games, because for whatever reason, we, at least from my perspective, I had outgrown Pokemon, and I was trying to become something else. Every teenager, I feel like, has an encounter with this experience in one way or another, where you're trying to form an identity for yourself now that you're a little older and you've experienced a little bit more of life. And at least for me, part of that experience was shedding my love for Pokemon, at least for a little bit, because it had become too much to be playing the games all the time and be coming home and watching the show and drawing. I didn't do a whole lot of drawing, but I drew a lot of Pokemon as a kid. And it was time to start discovering new things. I started playing guitar. I started doing theater. I was on a swim team my freshman year of high school for a little bit. And Pokemon Generation 5 just kind of passed me by. I don't know. Was it like a similar experience for you?
Oshawott.
I
saw Oshawott, and I was like, for that reason, I'm out.
What?
I was, Metallica, and fucking damaged metal. So it was like, wow, all this new shit sucks. I'm only gonna play the old stuff.
Yeah.
But Oshawott, I saw it and I was like, fuck that. Fuck Black and White. I really don't like his design.
That's a shame.
Like, it's that hardcore. I hate fucking Oshawott.
But Samurott is cool, and Duat is really cool.
They are. And it sucks. And I love otters. What happened?
Yeah.
What is it about its dumb fucking head that I hate so much?
I don't know. I don't know why you're asking me, but we missed the boat, and it took 3 years when X and Y came out to get back into Pokemon. But in that time, missed a couple of spin-off games. We missed the very first...
All the spin-off games.
Huh?
We missed all the spin-off games.
Yeah, we missed all of them. We missed the sequels to Black and White, aptly named Black and White 2, which we'll get into in a second, but are very similar to the first original games. But we had done a Pokemon retrospective video during the pandemic, and at least I revisited Unova by playing White 2 for the very first time in my life. Because eventually we did get Black and White. I don't know when that was, but I have an original copy of White.
2015.
2015?
Yeah.
I can't remember. Did we go and buy them together?
Yes, it was at Disc Replay, remember?
I don't remember that.
That was the one in Indiana. We went over there. We found them both.
In Highland, Indiana. Yeah, thank you. Shout out to Disc Replay in Highland, Indiana, who offered to give me an interview. Or I did have an interview with them, and they offered me a job, but that was when I got hired at Apple, which objectively is a better job, but, you know, not getting too off the rails.
I only remember that because in that video, I talked about how I got my first 2 badges in 2015 and then the rest in 2019 because I stopped for 4 years. I don't know why, but I just stopped.
So when we did our video, did you just continue playing Black then? Or did you start a new game in Black too?
No, it was the same file.
Okay. Yeah, because I bought White 2 specifically to play Gen 5 again because I'd already played White, and I was very underwhelmed. The spoiler alert for people who are big fans of Gen 5, I was super underwhelmed by the original like Pokemon White. I think it was because like I didn't have any hype going into it. You know, I had already been pretty familiar with the Pokédex like long after the games had come out originally, and I was really just going through the motions. And yeah, when I played White 2, it was kind of the same thing. But I was honestly more excited for White 2 because I thought, okay, this is my first time playing this game. You know, it's been a couple of years since I played White. I haven't played a Unova game in a while. And I remember liking it. I'm glad that there were years in between because, you know, in retrospect, other than the first 2 towns, everything is very similar. There's a whole section at the end of Black and White 2 where Kyurem freezes over the dragon town, and there's just a bunch of ice where you have to fight Team Plasma, and that's kind of cool. But yeah, most of that game feels very similar to the first one. But for the release of Gen 9 and for this series of videos or podcasts, sorry, David and I we finished the original Black and White again, just to kind of like get prepared. So I want to hear your thoughts first. Honest opinions going through it again. What do you think?
I really liked it.
Yeah?
I might actually prefer it over Diamond, to be honest.
Really?
I don't know what happened. I think it's a very similar situation with Moon and Ultra Moon, where I didn't really like the first time.
Yeah.
But the second time, I was like, wow, this is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It really worked for me.
So, like what worked?
Just because maybe it's because it was so long since I played like a handheld,
Sure.
old school Pokemon game, and I didn't remember anything, so it was like brand new. But like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I really like the region, and there were several times where like they really utilized the DS, and like the top screen would like pull out, and you'd see like the bridge in the background or whatever, and like it zooms out, and you're walking across like that whatever big ass bridge that was.
Yeah.
And like, I guess the story overall too. The characters and shit. I don't know, man. I really liked it.
Huh. So when did you finish Black? Because you finished it before I did.
I finished it a while ago. Like, probably, I don't know. I could go out and get my DS and look where I got the last badge, but like,
right.
I think it was earlier this month. At least.
So spoilers, I guess, for Pokemon Black and White, but at the end of the game, you're going through the Elite Four like normal, and Pokemon games started doing this more and more as the games went on. At least they did it in Sword and Shield, where you're on your way and you're doing your regular journey, like playing through all of the gyms, and you're at the Elite Four. And all throughout the game, N, who is a massively fan favorite character, just this very tall, mysterious. We don't know if he was engineered, bioengineered. We don't know if he was genetically altered or anything, but he is like the prince of Team Plasma, and he follows you throughout the game, and he's like, we're going to liberate Pokemon from trainers. And it was a really interesting question to pose at that time, because for several generations, PETA and real life organizations had been criticizing Pokemon for pushing this narrative of like catching animals and forcing them to fight, and so Pokemon kind of took that and flipped it on its head and was like, okay, well, what if in our game we have people that question that, and at the end of it, of course, the moral of the story is like, no, I mean, as long as you have trainers who are good people and they treat their Pokemon well, just like in real life, if you have pet owners that are good people and treat their pets with love, then that's not bad. But in the original game, you're going through the Elite Four, and then up until this point, N has been telling you, like, my plan is to beat the Elite Four and be the champion, become the champion of the Unova region, and then I'm going to make all these rules. I'll be the most powerful trainer in the region. So you get up to the chamber of, where the champion Alder is, and the roof is just fucking blown off, and N is there, and he's like, we're going to fight right now. And you're like, oh, what? And so you have to fight N, and I don't remember if that's after you catch Zekrom or Reshiram.
I think it's right before it.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's this whole scripted sequence where, like, you catch your box art legendary, and then you have to fight his, but you can't use any other Pokemon, and, like, you're always destined to beat N with the rare Pokemon, but then the game is over. After you beat N, and you don't,
over.
And they roll the credits and everything, and then like the game starts over, and I forget what.
Then Looker shows up, and he's like, "We got to hunt down the 7 sages," and then they're just, because I remember I found one of them like in like a random fucking route,
right?
So you have to like look for all of them. And dude, did you go to like the 3 towns like after like the post game?
Oh, like on the upper right hand side of the map? No, I didn't.
Dude, I don't know what the fuck happens, but like up until this point you're fighting like level 40s, like low 50s Pokemon.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like when you get the national dex on these 3 routes, the motherfuckers are all in like their 60s.
Ooh.
The game gets fucking hard as hell, like, because you're way under level now.
Yeah.
And like that's when I stopped. I was like, fuck this. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah. So you
Like,
didn't
it was
find
ridiculous.
the other sages, huh?
No, I stopped. No, I stopped. I at least wanted to get to the other 3 towns, but I was like avoiding trainers and shit. I didn't want to fight them because it was stupid.
What was your team at the end?
Wow. It's like I just fucking played it and I can't remember them.
Well, you started with Oshawott.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was Samurott, that eel thing.
Electric.
Electric, yeah. Braviary.
Yeah.
I feel like there was... God, I don't remember. I have a bad memory, so...
That's okay.
It's hard for me to remember shit like that. I didn't have a grass.
That's weird because I don't have a. Did you use a Chandelure?
Chandelure, yeah, I used that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say because I didn't have a fire type.
Solos or Reuniclus.
Oh, Reuniclus. Yeah.
And then a 6 one I can't remember, but
yeah. So we had pretty similar because I have
horrible fucking team. Every single one of them were slow as fuck.
Well, yeah, Reuniclus is super slow. I think you can learn Trick Room, which is really cool for it because then you swap the speeds of
Shit
everybody.
was so annoying.
Yeah. My team was pretty good. I had Superior because I started with Snivy, and our plan was to play Black 2 and White 2 and like swap our starters, but we both agreed that it's way too soon after beating the first one.
It's too much, man. Plus, yeah, these new games are coming out in like 2 weeks. Fuck that.
Yeah. So I had Superior, Jellicent, because I'd never used Jellicent before, and I needed a water type. Because I was gonna use the monkey, Simipour, but it just wasn't good. It stopped growing. Same thing with Scolipede. So I dropped Scolipede and I replaced it with Crustle, which was a bitch to raise because I got it around the 6th gym. So I was fighting Skyla, and I thought, oh, this is so cool. This will be perfect for him. It'll be perfect for Emolga, which I also used because I think Emolga is my favorite Pikachu clone. There's just something about acrobatics and like having Volt Switch that's really cool to me. But Dwebble, you fucking suck, dude. Like, its defense is super high, but its special defense is shit, and it's pretty slow. So all of these birds came out with, like, Air Cutter and, like, Razor Wind, and they kept one-shotting my... Sorry, Dwebble had Sturdy, so they kept two-shotting my Dwebble. And I was like, you can't do that. I just want to use Rock Slide on you, just once. I just want to evolve you into a Crustle. So that was a pain in the ass. I had Gothitelle, thanks to you, because we traded our exclusives. And she was pretty cool. I just wish I had the alternate ability, because the alternate ability is whenever a stack gets lowered, your special attack raises. But I had fucking Frisk, which reveals like an item that
fucking sucks.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was cool at first because I also had Embargo, which like prevents the use of items, but like it's only helpful if like there's so many NPCs that don't utilize items, like hold items.
Crocodile, that was the other one.
Oh, and I thought Crocodile was pretty fast.
He was the only one that like attacked first.
Yeah.
Literally the only one.
Yeah. But that combination of swagger and foul play is a deadly... It's like, because foul play does more damage the higher your attack stat is. Or the higher your target's attack stat is. And then swagger confuses them and raises their attack by 2 stages. So it's like, that's a dope combo.
I don't use stupid moves like swagger, though.
Alright. We're of 2 different schools.
Earthquake or GTFO?
I didn't know GTFO was an attack. What does that stand for? Get the front
out. Yeah.
Out. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Good games. I feel like had we played them at the age that we were when they came out,
I'm pissed. We skipped them.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. Like, cause we've talked about this before. It's basically Gen 1, but for like the next generation that was born after us. Because it's like you see so many posts on Instagram and TikTok and all YouTube, and they're like, why Gen 5 is the best generation. And it's like, oh shit, you're just like the Gen 1ers who refuse to acknowledge the later generations because you think Gen 1 is the best. And it kind of was like a soft reboot, right? Because like it was, to this day, the only new Pokemon game that has like well over 100 new Pokemon. It's like 120 something. It's the second highest since Gen 1. It had a lot of copy Pokemon, like Girder is just like Machamp. You have why am I blanking?
Woobat.
Yeah, Woobat is just Golbat.
Fucking piece of shit Garbodor.
Yeah, is Muck. So there are a lot of like copy Pokemon. Yeah, and it had direct sequels, kind of like how Gen 2 was a direct sequel to Gen 1, where you go to the same region and you see it from a different perspective.
Except not as good, because that one actually had a secondary region too.
Yeah, dude. Oh man, and there's even a rumor that Scarlet and Violet are gonna let you explore Kalos, but like there's always a fucking rumor that you're gonna be able to explore a different region, and it hasn't happened yet. But anyway. Yeah. So really quickly, the only other spin-off that I've played from Gen 5 is Pokemon Conquest, which is, I only played it years after it came out, and I remember we looked for that super hard. And eventually I found it, and I played it for a while. It's like Fire Emblem it's like Pokemon Fire Emblem. It's a tactical RPG where there's an overhead map and you move your Pokemon certain spaces, and you have a team that you can recruit. It's hard, dude. It's super difficult. Like there's a point where like you just have to grind. Like you can't progress the story any further until like you reach a certain level with your Pokemon, which means that you have to keep conquering territories outside of yours, which means beating boss battles that like you're not equipped for. And so I just gave up. I was like, I don't want to play this. But like the sprite models, all of the Pokemon, it's kind of like Pokemon Masters, where every Pokemon is paired up with like a specific trainer, and it's set in like samurai era, like Japan, which is like super cool. So all the characters have like armor and shit, and like all of the Pokemon, all of their armor is like the same color as the Pokemon. You have a character that uses Mewtwo, so his armor is like purple and white, and it's very cool. The character design is excellent. It continued the trend of Pokemon spin-offs being absolute bangers. But other than that, we didn't play the Gen 5 Pokemon Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. We didn't play the Gen 5 Pokemon Ranger game. And yeah, we didn't play Black and White when they came out. So
yeah,
it really was the generation. It was the gap generation. But next time we get to talk about Gen 6, which is our reintroduction to Pokemon in real time. We were both in high school, and I haven't played those games in a while, but I guess we'll save those thoughts for the next episode. So stick around until episode 20, which is kind of a cool milestone to hit. Yeah, go watch our Halloween episode that we just put out. Also to people who are watching this while we're recording it, which is just us, happy Halloween. Get lots of candy. And give David a fucking banana, all right? He's been asking for it all day.
Give me a banana.